Welcome to the final lesson of Module 5. A website is probably the most overwhelming project you'll tackle when starting a business. This is why I recommend hiring a designer. But whether you decide to hire a designer or DIY, this lesson will give you insight on the design process to help make whichever route you take easier and more efficient. First, determine the goals for your website. Use the questions in the last lesson as a guide. Next, choose your platform, which was also covered in the last lesson. You'll want to make sure it's compatible with other software products, tools, or services you plan to use, known as your tech stack. Your tech stack includes online booking software, email newsletter software, etc. Most of the time, you'll add links or embed some code on your website to make the integration work. Again, embedding code is just copying and pasting. You've got this. The very first thing I do when designing a website is add my branding. What this means is setting your fonts and colors on the back end, so whenever you add an element like text or color backgrounds, your website automatically reflects your brand. It also makes it feel less overwhelming because adding the branding makes your in-progress website look like yours, even without copy and photos. Next, if you were able to sign up for a free trial, commit and pay for the hosting and domain of your website, then set up a custom email address at your domain, which makes your business look so much more professional than just yourbusinessname@gmail.com. My @missmegabug.com email address is just $72 a year. Designing a website is going to take some time, but you can set something up now that will communicate the main points of your business. This is called a cover page. A cover page states website coming soon and includes your contact information, online booking link, email newsletter subscribe form, etc. It allows people to get a sense of your business before your full website is launched and know how to get in touch. This is essential because you're going to want to add your website URL to all of your social media profiles, marketing materials, etc. So purchasing your hosting domain and email address, then designing a cover page is one of the earliest things you should do when starting a business. Now that you have a foundation, keep a list of websites that inspire you. They don't have to be in your industry, but note what you like about the layout, design elements, and copy. This will help you envision your website. Next, you're going to plan your website's sitemap. Write down the pages you'll need and what will be on them, keeping the customer journey in mind. Also note which pages will appear in the main navigation, sub-navigation, and pages that won't be linked, such as your privacy policy page. Then it's time to design. I like to start with the easier pages and work my way up. This builds momentum by allowing you to check things off your list early, but it also gives you a chance to learn your platform on a simpler page. Plus, you may still be working out the design of your other heavy-hitting pages, so instead of not doing anything until you have your vision, you can still make progress. I like to start with the legal pages like terms and conditions and privacy policy and the 404 page, then moved on to the contact page. Next, I'll design the About page and blog pages. After that, I'll work on the service or product pages. And finally, I'll end with the home page. Why do I end with the very first page website visitors are likely to see? Because it's a summary of the entire website, and I may not know how I want to lay it out until I have the other pages solidified. It also allows me to link to other pages from the home page because they've already been created. While I'm working on each page, I'll add their SEO descriptions. These are basically the same across all pages, but the beginning is customized to that page. It's important to include keywords your ideal customer would search for, along with your business's location if applicable. For example, when I had my photography business, my About page SEO description was something like, about Meg Brown, the photographer behind Megabug Photography, offering wedding, senior, and commercial photography in Littleton, New Hampshire, and beyond. My contact page SEO description was contact Megabug Photography, offering wedding, senior, and commercial photography in Littleton, New Hampshire, and beyond. These descriptions included my page name, my business name, my services, which are my keywords, and my location. And notice how this read as a sentence? Your SEO description appears in search engine results underneath your website and page name, so it's important that it makes sense. You don't want to just list a bunch of keywords. Search engines are going to scan these descriptions for keywords, and people are going to read them, which helps them decide if they want to visit your website or not. Ready for my top SEO tip? While designing your website, claim your Google business profile. Whenever someone searches for your business name or related keywords, this information box will appear with your contact info. You can also make posts and add your list of services to this profile. Claiming your profile is huge for SEO because you're telling Google that your business exists and what it does so that it can display your business in relevant search results. Google cares about showing its users what they're looking for. Having a Google Business Profile allows Google to do that, and so you're rewarded by gaining more traction. I've included a tutorial on how to optimize your Google Business Profile back on the lesson page. In order to supercharge the effects of a Google Business listing, request a website crawl from Google. What this does is asks Google to review your website and understand your keywords instead of waiting for Google to find you. To do this, you'll connect Google Search Console to your website. There's a tutorial for that on the lesson page as well. Google Search Console will also email you suggestions on how to improve your website. I received an email the other day that notified me that I had a broken link in a blog post. I've also received emails stating that the text was too small on a certain page and the image file size was too large on another. For detailed how-tos on how to optimize the SEO on your website, visit the Getting Website Traffic formula and debug your business. To help you stay on task of your website design project, download the website checklist on the lesson page. Before we conclude this lesson, I wanted to share some website design quick tips. Tip number 1, write your website copy outside of your website. This protects your copy if something were to happen to your website and makes it easy to switch platforms if you need to, because you can copy paste from your Word document or Google Doc. Tip number 2, if you're hiring a designer, ensure that you will receive access to your website and are able to update it. You want control of your site. You don't want to track down and pay a designer every time you need to make a change. Which leads us to tip number 3, ask your designer to train you on how to update your website. And tip number 4, check in a few times a year to make sure your website still reflects what you do and your brand. Update photos if applicable and test for broken links. Websites that are active do better with SEO. That concludes Module 5. In the next module, we're going to create a marketing strategy that works for your business and doesn't take up hours of your day. I'll see you there.